I would, dude, you spit on me from Tucson.
Oh no.
You spit on me.
Sorry about that. It went right through the screen.
It totally did, man. It totally did. Happy friggin' New Year, everybody, from Drummers Education Connection. We are back live here. I'm here with two amazing drummers and two incredibly good friends of mine, Jeremy Steinkoler up in the Bay Area, and the man, the myth, the beatbox legend, and the twirling dude from Tucson, Arizona, Chip Ritter.
Hello.
What's up, everybody?
I would have tried to rap to your little thing, but it would have just gone downhill so fast, and it would have been
our ratings would have tanked.
We would have been exactly. The ratings would have tanked. The show would have been horrible, and it would have been a terrible way to kick off the new year. Anyway, everybody, welcome to Drummers Education Connection. Jeremy, we were all talking about this before we started the show and went live. It's kind of nice to be back. You know, all of us took some time off from the holidays, basically 2 weeks, and it was great to get some, rest and recharge the batteries. But by the end of it, I was ready to get back to work, and we all kind of agreed on that. And today we are talking about welcome in 2026, the Drummers Education Connection mindset, and just kind of bringing in the new year. But as we have done for like the last couple of years, we're going to start the show with good things. Good things is just a way to kind of kick things off and talk about something that each one of us has going on in our lives. Outside of drumming, inside of drumming, whatever. And so I'm going to start with Chip. Chip, what's going on in Tucson for you? That's good, buddy.
And my good thing was that a while ago, about a little over a year ago, I met a young man who wanted to have help. He needed help getting sober, and I helped him and showed him some stuff and took him to meetings, and he successfully started getting sober, and he stayed sober, and he's still sober today after a year. And I went and saw him play on New Year's Eve with his band that he got to join because of all this stuff that's happening in his life now. And I just think that's my good thing. I got to see him play and celebrate the new year and ring it in. And it was really cool, man. It was cool to not play a New Year's gig for once.
Right.
For me to be on the other side of that and just kind of enjoy the band. And I just had a great time. So that's my good thing.
Dude, that is great. Good for you and good for him. Jeremy, what do you got going on, bud?
I got 3 good things for you guys. The first was just having some really nice time off and getting to see a whole lot of friends that I hadn't seen in a long time. And, friends are really, really important. And it's important to take that time to reconnect and have dinner. And it was just really nice to be social. And my kid was home from school, so that was really great. We played a show together. That's my second good thing. It was just out of sight. He played his butt off. Great turnout. I'll have some video for that next week. That's right now. I got to chop it up into smaller things. And then he is put together a GoFundMe for his album. So I'm going to be making with him an album of all his original music this summer with some of the Bay Area's like top Grammy winning musicians going to be playing on it.
Wow.
But he's funding it himself. And if it's okay with you guys, if I share that link to his GoFundMe.
Absolutely.
We'll put it up there and you guys can check it out. He's a monster.
Send it to me and I'll put it in the description of this video too.
Okay.
So that link will be there. So send that to me too.
Yeah, I will. So he just launched it yesterday. He's already got a couple $100. And if any of you guys feel like it's something you want to support the arts and the next generation, please check it out.
Yeah, put me down. I'll do it.
Awesome. Thanks, dudes.
I'm in.
Love it. And I had my one more good thing. I forget what it was now. Oh, I got 2 new cymbals. I bought myself a Christmas present. Yeah. So I got a couple of cymbals from Sabian.
What'd you get?
I got the 21-inch hammer tone ride, the Jeff Hamilton cymbal.
Yeah.
And then I got an 18-inch Legacy Crash, which was just the right amount of more mellow than the one I have that I wanted for these kind of quieter gigs. So super psyched.
Cool.
I'm going to buy 2 Crashes as well. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. So
we'll talk about that. What did you, Bart, what's good for you?
You know what? What's good for me is I've got a couple of good things. Number one, I was late getting in here, just barely squeaked in because we're getting ready to go on the road. We fly Thursday, and we have 3 sold out shows in Granbury, Texas, Friday, and then 2 on Saturday. And so I'm really excited about that. It's a beautiful kind of opera house theater down there. And it's going to be really cool to go down there and play, kicking off the year with the Sam Morrison Band coming out of the gates hot. So we're excited about that. So that's a great thing. I am also going to buy 2 new cymbals. Just once again, haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. And I'm glad to see that Fred Fisher is watching, because this is my kind of maybe second or third good thing. But here it is. Jeremy, are you paying attention?
I'm watching.
Okay, here we go. So Fred started this thing where you go into a restroom, a public restroom, and you take a selfie with the bathroom wall art, right? The pictures in the bathroom. And it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody do. But I am so into it. It's so dumb that I love it. So Fred, hats off to you. And I love it. I mean, that's my good thing, is Fred's idea that he is doing on Facebook with bathroom wall art. That's my good thing. That's
bathroom wall art.
Dude, it's a thing. It's a thing. And you guys got to get, every drummer, put down the sticks, go into a bathroom, take a selfie with the bathroom wall art, and put it on Facebook. There you go.
Because that has to happen.
It has to happen. It absolutely has to happen. I wish I would have thought of it. I just really would do. I do. Jeremy, you look like you have something to say.
Let's move on.
Fred's watching, dude. Come on.
I love Fred.
Everybody loves Fred. Oh man, welcome to 2026, everybody. We had to kick it off big there with Fred's little thing. I think it's just hilarious. Yeah, so what we're kind of talking about today is he says I'm a blazer, he's a trailblazer. What we're talking about today is kind of like a mindset thing, but really more it's about starting into the new year. Every year we've done since the beginning of Drummers Education Connection, we've done a couple of things that are fun for us and hopefully fun for our viewers and our listeners. And that is, we do the Deck the Hall show at Christmas time, which we just did. That was our last show of the year. And then at the beginning of the year, we kind of do a New Year's Eve show and come up with a different name for it every year. And it's just kind of a way to check in and how are we going to start the year? How are we going to get this year going? What are we going to do to kind of gain traction, and whatever it is we want to do. Maybe we don't want to work as much. Maybe we want to take some time off and slow down. Maybe we want to work more. What is it that we want to do? And you know, how to start forging forward into the new year. So Chip, I want to throw it off to you.
Okay.
What are some of the things that you have going, whether it be as a performer, as an author, as a educator? What are some of the things that you kind of have set for yourself for this year?
Well, I have a couple things that aren't really earth-shattering goals so much as one of them is I'm finally going to publish my book that I've been working on for years, on and off. I get really into it and I start doing it, and then I kind of just stop, and then I get back into it and I start doing it, and then I kind of just stop. And now I've just made the commitment to make sure that I publish that book and get it out there. That's going to be a big goal for me. I'm working towards that. I've got some drumming goals, some things that I'm learning, a couple gigs coming up in February that I've got. But man, I'm right now, I'm just kind of taking it easy and looking at the scenario. I'm thinking about my options as far as the major goals that I'm going to set. So I haven't really set many aside from the book being published, to be honest with you.
That's a big goal, though, dude. I mean,
that's a pretty big goal. Yeah.
That's as big as it can. Yeah, that's really, really big and a really important one, too. So
yeah,
I support that goal, and I'm happy to help you in any way that I can, man.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'll be calling you.
I'll second that. If I can help in any way, let me know.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. So that's really where I'm at. And I just have I'm going to keep teaching students. I've got a number that I have set as a goal to get new students, and I'm going to be marketing and advertising for that. And I'm just going to go into the new year like I've been going into last year, just heavy towards the prize, you know?
Yeah.
Good. Jeremy, what about you? What do you have going on for the new year?
I've been thinking a lot about, we've had this goal setting episode every once a year. But I've been thinking recently about sort of differentiating for myself hopes versus goals,
Mm.
and thinking about like goals as something that I can achieve if I'm disciplined and if I'm motivated and if I'm consistent and keep my eye on the prize. And then hopes are things that I can't control necessarily.
Right.
But I can work toward, sort of creating an environment where they will hopefully come true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for example, like one of my hopes is to present at PASIC this year. And I've been working on my presentation the last couple of years, and it's getting better and better. And I'm more and more focused on exactly what I want to do. And I feel like it's a really, really good. And the best I can do is keep refining it and hope that it comes to happen, and put myself in a position where where fortune smiles or whatever.
Right.
Because I can't control what happens, whether they select it or not. I can only put myself in a good position. So that's the thing for me. I'm thinking that the album project with my son is a really big one this year. So I'm really excited about that. That's not till the summer, but there's a lot of stuff that happens between now and then, as you might imagine. Yeah, those are the two big things on my mind.
Right on.
That's great. That's
I
really
like
cool.
The difference between a hope and a goal. That's logical.
Well, some people like, I have a friend who's a golfer, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to get my handicap down to single digits this year." And he says that every year, right? And it's like, well, that's a goal. Sure, it's a goal to reach a certain level. But that's like an external goal. What can you control that you can actually make some progress with, that can put you in a position where that comes true? You know what I mean? So I would, if I were him, I'd suggest, I don't say this to him, but like, how about, I commit myself to practicing 3 times a week, or working with a teacher, or
something tangible.
Yeah, something tangible and process related that can help him, most likely put him in a position most likely to succeed. As opposed to, I just want to get the thing. I want to get the, I want to be in the band, that's, I have a student who said, I want to be in a band that's, gigging, every weekend. Like, okay, well, that's a goal, but there's so many things that have to happen for that to happen that you don't have any control over. Right. So you have to focus on the things that you can do to put yourself in a position where that's more likely to happen.
Yeah. To put yourself in that position to maneuver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
I just want to, touch on what both of you guys said, because Jeremy, I love that. The hopes, I really like that. That really resonates with me, because it kind of goes hand in hand with some of the stuff that I've been thinking and things that I've been trying to do in my life. And Chip, again, back to yours really quick, finishing a book, man, that is, I get what you're saying. I'm on fire to do this book, and I'm going to work on it. And you write however many pages and create content for it. And that in and of itself is, just makes your eyes glaze over sometimes, sitting, it's so hard, because you're peeling a piece of you out and putting it, on a page. And so it's
Right.
not easy. It's not easy. So to both of you guys, thank you for that. And I think it's wonderful. As I've mentioned in past shows, I don't really think that resolutions work. And so I love that both of you guys say goals, because I think we have to set goals and try to reach them and make them, make the goal tangible enough that you can at least touch it. Even if you don't reach it 100%, you can touch it, or at least try to. And Jeremy, I too, as you and I've talked, I'm going to try to present at PASIC as well. It's something that I've wanted to do. And after walking through the show last year, I realized there was a few things that I felt that I could offer. And so I already started my video. I basically just have to do the playing part now. And so I'm going to submit that. So I'm excited about that. You guys know me pretty well. This is our 6th year going into
6 years.
Crazy, right? Dude, that's well, I heard a statistic as a side note the other day that most podcasts last for 3 episodes. We've got 6 years under our belt. And if you think about all the friends that we've made because of this podcast,
that's the best part.
100%, Jeremy. And you nailed it when you said that's the best part, because here's the thing. You guys know me really well, and you know that I am a goal-oriented person and I go for the throat, and it's just in me. And I think a lot of it, I've been doing a lot of reflecting over the last 2 weeks. I think a lot of it was the way I was brought up. I think a lot of it was just this drive for success within me. And at the end of last year, I kind of started taking an inventory of everything in my life, and I've done a couple of videos on it on my own channel on being grateful, and I'm so grateful for everybody in my life. The 3 of you guys, Rick isn't here, but if he was, and for all the friends that we've made through Deck, I'm so incredibly grateful for my band, for everything that I have. I'm just really grateful for it. So my goal is for this year is to, rather than, okay, when's the next gig? How many people were at the gig? How much money can we make? All these stupid material things that we all have. I just want to live in the moment. I want to enjoy the moments. I want to, we had a little conversation like that fast about Deck Day before we got on. I'm so looking forward to Deck Day because I want to do Deck Day, but I want to, and I want it to be successful, and I'm going to do everything I can for it to be successful, but I really want to just enjoy the heck out of it.
Well, this to me comes back to kind of what I was saying earlier about like process being more important than product. If you're so focused on the goal, okay, the goal to play in the band every week, gig every week, to go to present at PASIC, the goal to get the record contract, whatever it is, like what would it mean between the difference where you are now and the difference when you get that? The thing itself may feel like the prize, but think about the process that has to happen between now and then to get there. And then
the journey.
Exactly. Right. Imagine that you're there and you've worked on your game, and you're that much more prepared and more together. That's the reward. The goal at that point is the gravy. You know what I mean? It's like,
yes, I do.
But look, whether you get the gig or not, like you're such a much better player because you put the work in, and you're enjoying it more because you're playing better.
Right.
And that all that stuff leads to good things. The discipline and the motivation and the execution, good things happen when you commit to the process.
Totally.
My mother was friends with Rita Coolidge and Mary Wilson from the Supremes. And she had dinner with him one time, and she was telling Mary Wilson, yeah, my son's a drummer. And I was like, yeah, I'm a drummer. And he's got a career. He's trying to get a career going and all this other stuff. And what advice would you give Chip for his career? And Mary Wilson said, we would always, as a band, we would always think about the next step, like getting that next record deal or putting that next record out. And it would just always be about this out of touch, out of reach thing that we were looking forward to. And then here would come the day and we would celebrate for a day or so. And then it would be on to the next thing. And she said, what I would recommend is try to enjoy the journey, the process more, the where you are, where your feet are here and now. Try to enjoy the moments as they happen. So
I think
that's good advice.
That's great, man. That's a great story too. I think that really process in the big picture process is what it's all about. And really that's all there is, because the goals, like you say, they can be satisfying to reach, but then what? It's a temporary feeling. You win the championship. Now we're on to next year.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're present like you're talking about, Bart, being present and enjoying the process, then you win. Regardless of whether you win the championship or not, you win.
Completely. And I can kind of relate to in a different way. I mean, not, as high a level as your mom's friends, Chip, but like I've gone through that forever with Sam Morrison Band. We've done so many albums in that band. And when we're doing the album, we're like all in, we're all focused. Okay, we got to get this record out, make it the best that it can be. It comes out, and as soon as it's out, there's like that moment of, oh, it's done. Okay, now we got to go play it, and
Right.
great job, everybody, way to go. And then you just go to the gig, or you go on to the next thing. And you have a new piece of art out there. You have this new thing out there, this new tangible product that people can listen to, buy, stream, however they listen to their music now, and it's done, and you've reached that goal. But I think we have to bask in that more. And this may be a little bit, I don't know, a little bit of a reach, but one of the things that we have this place in Fredericksburg that we play every year, Fredericksburg, Texas. And the gig's cool. The people that own the place are fantastic. They're really cool. KK and Larry. And they own the house that we stay in when we play there. They own the theater. They own the restaurant we go to. It's great. Well, they sold the theater. And so we were like, well, hopefully the new people ask us back. And one of the things that we liked about this gig was the food that they had at their restaurant, as well as this restaurant across the street from there that was a German place. And they had the best food. And everybody was like, oh man, we're not going to get to go to that German place anymore, And we were kind of bummed about that. So we're not going to Fredericksburg this weekend. We're going to Granbury. And my wife, Leah, was in Granbury a few years ago, and she's like, hey, I know this great German restaurant in downtown Granbury. I was like, perfect. And so I'm of course I'm looking forward to the gig. I mean, I get to go play music with my friends, but I'm looking forward to the whole thing now. Let's go to the restaurant. Let's have a nice meal. Let's hang out. Let's tell some jokes and have some laughs and take a picture of bathroom wall art and post it for Fred to laugh at, stuff like that. It's just more about being in the moment. And that's kind of what I'm really focused on now.
That's
for
great
this year.
That's great. That's a really excellent goal.
So I'm going to start a GoFundMe. So everybody send me money because I'm not going to work. I'm just going to sit around and enjoy the moments. So I'm joking. But yeah, I think it's important, because man, you wake up one day and you're like, where did all the time go? And when I look at every place I've been with that band, it's like, I think we all want to be in the next Beatles or the next Van Halen. When we first started out, whatever our favorite band was, I want to do that. And the way I look at it now, it's like, well, gosh, all these years, it's kind of my Beatles, and I'm really proud of the work. So yeah, I'm just going to enjoy that.
Hey, Bart, when you were talking about your inventory and you were talking about taking inventory at the end of the year, can you describe that process a little more? And then also, I noticed you tagged in a bunch of gratitude while you were going over your inventory. Can you express a little bit more about how gratitude highlights that for you? How's that worked for you?
Yeah, and it's going to kind of start in a weird way. Because of what I just said about the Beatles and whatever your favorite band is, I think it's so easy to get into this mindset of wanting success. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting success, by the way. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting money, and all those things that come along with whatever you think success is. But it's so easy to get stuck into that to where that's all you think about, that you don't kind of pick your head up and smell the proverbial roses. And at the end of the year, I kind of started looking at my life and looking at what I've been able to achieve. I moved to California from Colorado, and I'm in a band that travels coast to coast every year. And as hard as that, it's really easy to get stuck in how hard that is, especially when you're in the middle of it. When it's 2 a.m. and you're driving down a road that's just dark as heck, hoping that you can find the Airbnb you're staying at, in the middle of New York. It's hard. It's hard work. It's easy to get stuck in the negative of it. So I started spinning it, and I started looking at what I've been able to achieve that is good. And not even anything that was negative that came into my mind. I just was like, well, yeah, but I've been able to do this. I'd have been able to do that. And so I tacked gratitude to it. And with the band part of it, I know I go back to that a lot, but with the band part of it, again, I think all of us wanted that, the big MTV moment. You buy into the dream, or I want a Grammy. I want a, whatever to hang on the wall, whatever award um, to hang on the wall. And when that doesn't happen, when you don't get the Grammy and you're still in it after all these years, it's easy to get bitter. And I wouldn't say that I've gotten bitter, but I know a lot of people who are that are really jaded from the business. And I don't want to be that. So I just started looking at what I have and just being like incredibly grateful for it. I mean, like really trying to go, wow, I'm living in this beautiful house and this is my studio, I own this. This is mine. It's not somebody else's. And I'm grateful for that. I'm not chest pounding. I'm so thankful for this. So yeah, that's what it looks like for me. I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. This business isn't known for all the positivity and good stuff about it. The music business is close to the entertainment business, which is, what did Hunter S. Thompson say? It's full of pimps, thieves, and liars, and then there's also a dark side.
Yeah, exactly. And if you allow it to be, it can be soul crushing. I remember when I got my book deal with Centerstream, and I got my first book published, The School of Hard Rocks, and I was so on fire. I was like, I can't believe I got my book deal. And I remember thinking about it at the time, going, well, why is this such a big deal for me? I didn't reinvent the wheel. I wrote a drum book. There's a lot of drum books out there. I'm not expecting to get rich off of this. This is just my take on how to play the drums. And the conclusion that I came to is that being in the music business, there's so many times that I've heard the word no. And no comes along. Am I not good enough? Is the book not good enough? All this negative stuff comes along with no. And when I finally heard yes, I was just like, oh my gosh, And I think for me, that was a big deal. And the other thing I want to say too about Deck with Rick's not here. I call him the positive energy hand grenade. I think you've got to surround yourself by people who are positive. I think you have to surround yourself by people who are successful, and the people that aren't successful, you don't want to listen to them, because they're like balloon poppers. You're never gonna,
Exactly.
I recently, I got to hang out with a super, super, super famous band a couple weeks ago. Right. Two super famous bands. And the funny thing, backstage, there was a lot of this going on between the two bands. And that's a whole other story, or between the management of the bands, I should say. And it was interesting to watch the dynamic going on. And one of the guys in one of the bands, they asked him, what's your favorite song in the set list? Somebody asked him, and he goes, the last one. And I was like, dude,
yeah.
That's like so,
oh man,
look at what you're doing here, and so I don't know. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person.
I don't think that's in your nature, to be honest with you. I think, not that people can't change, but like, we all are kind of wired the way we are, and had the upbringing we did with the parents and, the environment, and that has an impact on how your world outlook, and whether you look at the bright side of things or the dark side of things. And, yeah, I don't think that's you, just like it's not Rick. Like, you can't imagine Rick having a bad attitude about much for more than about 30 seconds, because it's just not in his nature,
Yeah.
What you were saying about people you're surrounded with, your environment has a huge impact on your outlook. And my dad used to say, it's hard to soar like an eagle when you're surrounded by turkeys. You want to make sure that you pick the people that you're in the life with that make you feel good, that bring value. Because there's some people that I know that, when they call me on the phone, I'll get on the phone and I'll be like a little hesitant to answer, because I know, like, after I get off that phone call, I'm going to feel like some of my energy has been drained. It's just like, I need to eliminate more of those people and surround myself more with people like Rick and you guys that are optimistic and positive, because it really does have an impact on the quality of my life.
I appreciate that as being on the receiving end of that, and I feel the same way, and I echo it back. I read this interesting article last week in the New York Times about willpower, because it's, timely for the new year and everybody's setting their resolutions. And of course, the vast majority of them don't last more than a couple of weeks. And there were the research that was done on willpower has shown that basically we all suck at it. Right. And the people that are successful with, achieving their goals or whatever it is, weight loss or changing habits, whatever, are the ones that know not to put themselves in the wrong positions where they will have to have willpower carry the day.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, if it's all about willpower, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're trying not to eat sweets, don't don't put yourself in a place where there's lots of sweets. That's the way to do it, as opposed to like being in the place where there's lots of sweets and forcing yourself not to have any. Does that make sense?
It does.
It reminds me of the motivation versus discipline. The motivation works for a little bit, but it's the discipline that really carries you through towards the goals.
Yeah, right. But the discipline, this is a little nuance here, but between there's a discipline and like, okay, I'm determined I'm not going to have that cookie versus I'm not going to go to a place where they have cookies in the first place. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Yeah.
And sort of knowing yourself and knowing your tendencies and knowing that, when you're okay, here's an example. One of my students, she has her drum set in her garage, and the garage is detached from the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not heated, it's not insulated, it's cold. And during the winter months, she doesn't practice very much. And it's not because she doesn't want to practice and she always gets down on herself for not practicing enough, but it's because there's that obstacle and she doesn't have the willpower to like force herself to be uncomfortable when she's cozy and warm in her house. Right. So I said, the answer is not to sort of force yourself to go into the cold, damp garage. The answer is either to make the garage a comfortable place to be, or, put your drum set in your house or set up a practice kit during the winter months, inside the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good ideas. Both of those.
So you don't have to fight that, and lose that battle every time and then feel bad about yourself for losing it. Instead, circumvent the problem.
And totally. And I think that that's such wise advice, because so many times, back to the candy thing or sweet thing, oh, it's Christmas time and it's New Year's and oh my God, I don't want to put on weight. And so I'm not going to eat cookies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to eat candy. And I walk out of my studio and, there's cookies and candy everywhere. It's like, get these out of the house. Don't bring it home.
Right. It's not in the house. You can't eat it.
Right. Exactly. And I think that, the same willpower is something I think we have to learn to tap into, though,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be with practice, whatever. I think as a teacher and as a performer, there's that. You can't take the path of least resistance. You've got to sit down and do the work. And so maybe schedule the time to practice. And even if it's like, okay, I'm going to sit down for 10 minutes and I'm going to play this thing that I've been struggling with on this song. And that's, and I'm going to do that. And I think that you have to not take the path of least resistance. I think you have to move forward with that.
But think of this. Imagine, like, we all are the phone generation, us and our kids, right? Like, so screens are they're an addiction.
Oh
yeah. It's a constant distraction.
Absolutely.
And I know for me, it's hard to resist the pull when you hear the chime or it's right nearby, hands reach away, and you want to look at something. So, I don't do this, but I know people who do. I think Jim Royal does this. I think Rick does this. Like, they have these rules for themselves that they don't pick up. They put the phone in the other room, at night, and they don't pick it up until 10 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
And that way they start their day without the first thing reaching for the phone.
Interesting.
Or if you're going to practice and the phone's always, I mean, I've seen this even in my lessons when students come in and like they're taking a lesson and they keep getting distracted by the phone, right?
Yep.
And I say, here's an idea. Let's turn it on airplane mode and put it in your backpack just for an hour.
Just for an hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've learned to turn my phone over. If I'm playing something on YouTube that we're playing along with, and the phone is on my floor tom and facing up, I'll look over at 100% of the time the student is watching the phone while they're playing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've learned to turn the phone over when I do that.
Yeah.
Right. But if it's not there, if it can't distract you, it can't distract you. Right.
You're right.
In other words, if it's not there in the room or if it's not visible, then you don't have to fight the battle to be, oh, let me look at it and not look at it, you know.
I've had that very thing happen to me actually yesterday in a lesson to me. I always leave my phone over here on my desk. The drum set's over there. And I do that for that reason. And yesterday it was sitting in my my phone holder in my drum buddy over there. And I got a text, and instead of just letting it go, I looked at it, and it was my Nick student texting me about their lesson. So I'm sorry, I got to send this text to my student. I'm sending a text, and I send it. Well, pretty soon now there's this conversation going on,
right?
And I'm on somebody else's time. This is their lesson. I should be all in.
Yeah, that's a no-no.
And so I apologized, and I said, "Give me 2 seconds." I stood up, walked over here, put the phone on my desk, walked back over, and got behind the drum set. I really think that it's important, and you are right. It is super distracting, and it is something that it is an addiction. And yeah, it's something that can, so maybe that's our thing for this year too. Less screen time,
Less screen time.
James said, basically in a nutshell, attitude changes the outlook, even when the situation is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of going back to something I was saying a minute ago. And yeah, there's times when you're in a bad situation. You want to put a good attitude in there. Having a good attitude about something is going to help the situation be better. And again, I think it comes back to that gratitude thing, just being grateful. If you're playing a gig, okay, drummers, you show up to the gig, you're expecting it to be this big, huge, great, awesome gig, and you show up, it's a little crappy bar and you're stuck over in the corner. Well, you can make the worst out of it, or you can just go play the gig and think, well, I get to play some music and have a great time playing my drums. Again, the attitude towards it is a big deal.
There's a story in my book that I write something like this. I played a gig once at a hotel bar, swanky hotel here in Berkeley. And, when I sent in the CD this is my jazz quartet. I sent the CD, they booked the band, play the gig. And this is in the 90s when there was swing dancing was hugely popular here on the West Coast. And there was like a resurgence in jump swing, and all these bands that were playing this kind of stuff. And I guess they had some dance bands, some swing dance bands there at that club on occasion or frequently. And so these people that were there were like, play some dance music. We want to dance, swing dance. So, I started getting self-conscious and started to call songs that were more sort of straight ahead, swingy and things I thought that they would want. And it just wasn't happening.
Okay.
And they got up and danced, but they kept sort of like asking for something that we weren't providing, right? We weren't a swing band. We were a jazz band. That's two different things.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It was not a jump swing. And we hit the break and I went to the bathroom and I'm just thinking to myself like, oh God, what a crappy gig. This is the worst, and this, by the way, this is only 2 people in the whole bar that are causing this thing for me.
And the place is packed.
No, it was not packed, but whatever.
Yeah. It wasn't the majority.
No.
Right.
But in my mind, it was everybody, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they all think.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a crappy gig. Oh God, I hate being in a place where they don't want what you're offering, and the wrong band for the gig, and no, I should blah blah blah. And so I'm in this kind of cycle, and you know, as I said, I'm calling songs that are not what we've rehearsed and aren't familiar with. And I go to the bathroom on the break, and I had this moment, this realization. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is my gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hired me, my group, based on the music that we play.
Yeah.
So there's two people here that aren't digging it and want something else. Why is that my problem?
Right.
Why am I trying to satisfy them? Why am I feeling bad about not being able to satisfy them? So I went back to the stage with a completely, like, an instant and complete change of mindset. And I said, we're just going to play what we play. And they left. Those two people left, and everybody else that was there was totally into it and came up and said, "Oh, you guys sound great. What a really nice evening of music," you know?
Right.
And it was such a great lesson for me in that mind trap, you know, of attitude, and how your attitude can shape your whole experience about it. Just like James was
Like
mentioning.
James says,
Like,
yeah.
same situation, but it was like it was almost like two different people with two completely
your
different
perspective. Yeah.
It shifted, and it changed the experience, and it was like, and it ended up being a learning experience for me. And I refer to that story a lot. That's why I put it in the book, and I tell my students about it, because, you know, there's an important lesson there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it also goes to show, you know, back to the attitude thing too, but on the opposite end, you know, one bad apple spoils the barrel. And so these people that were, you know, making you do that in your mind, and you're calling these songs that weren't going good and all that stuff, you know, they were not the majority of the people there, and they were ruining it not only for the other people around it, but for the band, you know. And so surrounding yourself by, and you know, you can't help who is at your gig, you know, I mean, you know, you can't do that, but you know, play to your audience. Don't play to the one knuckle. I mean, what would have happened what would have happened if a metalhead walked in, you know, play some Priest, dude. You know, it's like, we don't know any Priest. You know? I mean, come on, you know, you're not going to do that. So yeah, you've got to, don't let the one person ruin the whole thing for you.
Well, and furthermore, like, I could tell afterwards that my attitude, I hadn't realized, was also affecting the attitude of my bandmates.
Yeah.
Right. Like, my feeling of, oh, this isn't working, let's play something different. You know, they started getting uncomfortable. And when I came back in with a different mindset, they were like relieved. It's like, oh yeah, let's just do our thing. That feels so much better.
You know, and man, again, there's all these little moments in today's show where for me, it keeps hitting the nail on the head, because that can happen in a band on the road. You're on the road, and you're going through all the things that you go through, and one person can be upset because something isn't going right in their little area of the world, and now the whole band, the load in, the sound check, the unloading of the trailer, the setting the gear up, the whole time is like, oh, I don't want to do this gig. I just no. Look, okay, you're having a bad day. Something isn't going right, and that's a bummer for you. That's a drag, and I'll do everything I can to help you make that bummer go away, but I'm not going to let it affect me. That, I think, is okay. So there's the question. You're around somebody that's doing that to you. How do you change that? How did you change it? What did your mindset, what did you change for your mindset to just snap like that?
You talking to me?
Yeah. What did you do?
I honestly don't know. What happened to me. It hit me like a realization, you know. I was just spinning, and I caught myself spinning. And you know, what I did was just decide that didn't matter to me, and so that's how it changed. Yeah. And those people were not, they didn't matter to me, and they went away, and it was great.
Yeah.
But it is tricky when you're around someone like in the band who's having a hard time and complaining and focusing on that.
Debbie Downer. Yeah.
Debbie Downer. Right. And everything's like, you know, like you were talking about the guy, you said, what's your favorite song to play? And he said the last song. It's like, oh man, what a drag to be in a band with that dude. Right.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, you never know what people are going through, and they got all the personal stuff and the demons and things that they're causing them suffering. But it's hard to be around people like that.
Yeah.
Because it casts a pall. and it has an impact on the vibe.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a quote thing about attitudes that I was looking at, and one of them says, the remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We can't change the past. We can't change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We can't change the inevitable. But the only thing that we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very well. Who said that, Chip? That's very well written.
It's a quote from Charles Swindoll.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's really cool.
It can be hard. I mean, I think we've had an episode about this. I can't remember, but it can be difficult when you're in it. I mean, I don't know
when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah. Well, what do you do to flip the switch? I mean, it just kind of happened to me. I don't know, but I think the best advice I can think is like, since that experience, I'm more and talking about it, I'm more aware of it when I see it in other people. I think I used to just kind of go along with it. And if somebody was down, I would sort of like let it sort of take me down a little bit.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, that wasn't necessary. And that wasn't, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. One thing you did do though, you went to the bathroom. You were out of the situation. You removed yourself from the situation and got, and I think that physically helped you get a different perspective.
I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true. Cause I was on stage the whole time playing.
Yeah.
Up until then. That's right. I mean, just a physical change of scenery helped me make a change of attitude.
And the mindset too, going into it, to both of your guys' question and point, and to my question, how do you change it, is that I think sometimes it's so easy, as you said, Jeremy, to be in your head and be spinning out. I mean, how many times have we been, we've all had this, I'm sure, where in your mind, you're going to see somebody and for some reason you have this thing in your head that there's going to be a confrontation or you're not going to agree on something and it's just going to be an issue and it just builds up and builds up. And then you see that person says, "Hey man, how's it going? Good to see you." And you're like, you're taken off guard by their happiness, because you're expecting this thing. And I think don't have those expectations. One of the things that Sam often says, he says that you want to set your gratitude higher than your expectations. And he goes, if you just don't have expectations of the people around you, have expectations of yourself. But if you have expectations of the people around you, they're never going to live up to it. They're just not, So have a lot of gratitude for what you have, not expectations for what you think you should be getting.
Gratitude is a key to so many things. It's a pathway to changing your attitude and your perspective and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember sitting there thinking about, having a bad day teaching, which to me was just more of the struggle of not getting my students where I wanted them to get and all this stuff and these expectations I had on myself, and I'm kind of down. And then I had this one student who's trying to play and he's doing his thing. And I'm like, okay, so on your drum set at home, are you going this way or going that way? And he's like, I don't have a drum set. And I just realized, like, I have a drum set. I have this ability to hit this stuff, and I have this stuff to hit. And there's some people that just don't even have a drum set. And it just gave me this gratitude, and we ended up getting him a drum set eventually. But yeah, it's such a game changer when your perspective can change on something so small. Can change the whole thing for you.
Yeah. Fred Fisher says, a year ago, I was really focusing on my attitude. It sure helped me get through the day-to-day recovery. A year later, I'm feeling feel I'm doing pretty good. And yeah, Fred, Fred went through, for those of you who don't know, he had a really bad accident. He broke his knee really bad. And I'm sure that having a positive mindset, you have to have that to get through something like that.
Yeah.
I recently had an injury and it was really easy. It would have been really easy to slip into a depression or whatever. And it was just like, you know what, this sucks. And for me, I'm a get up in the morning and let's go to the gym and get the day started guy. And I had to take a rest from that. I had to step back from that. And that was tough for me. So taking a step back, but still keeping the mindset that I'm going to get through this, is, yeah, you got having a good attitude towards it, having a good attitude. It's definitely a big help. What were you going to say, Chip? I'm sorry.
No, it was Jeremy who was going to say something.
Just that all it takes is something like that to help you appreciate what you have or what you had as soon as you don't have it anymore. Right.
Yeah.
So Fred, tore up his knee, and all of a sudden, not only could he not play drums, he couldn't walk.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's like, oh man, I long for the day when I can just walk without any pain or without any assistance. Right.
Yeah.
And now, I'm sure it wears off, and Fred, you can speak to this, but like, I'm sure in the beginning when you're finally able to walk without any pain, you're like, oh man, I thank God, like here I am, can do this again. And it's really easy to take so much for granted. And like, we're all saying the same thing about gratitude, but like, you got a gig, you got a drum set, you got people you're playing with, you're on tour, you're getting paid to play, or you're getting to play instead of I have to, it's I get to.
Thing.
Yeah. And if you keep drilling down, that's not what you need to survive, right? What do you need to survive? Like food, water, shelter, air. Yep. And it makes sense. Like why, when you meditate, you focus on your breathing. It's like, hey, this is the first thing that you need. And the thing that can be grateful for is that you get to breathe.
Yep.
Breathing.
All you need to do is take that away and you'll see how much you take for granted that you get to breathe.
Yeah. Right.
The thing too is when you have a gig and it's not going good, or it's not a great gig, or somebody saying play swing dancing, whatever. Mm-hmm. There's a thing that you can look at and go, there are a lot of drummers who would just kill to have this gig right now. A lot of people would just die to be playing this gig that I have, that I'm doing. So I've got to be thankful for that gig. So, if at this year, and it's not a matter for everybody who's a player and everybody that goes out there and does gigs. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You're going to get to a gig and it's going to be like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
There's going to be an obstacle, and maybe the entire gig from the time you pull up to the time you leave is the obstacle.
Right.
Have a good attitude about it the best you can. Just get in there, play the music, do your thing, and do your gig, and know that somebody else out there wants that gig. And at one point in your life, you would have died to have that gig,
And if that keeps happening to you, that you keep showing up and there's obstacle after obstacle, and you've got interpersonal issues with the people in the band, maybe it's not the right band for you.
Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Brian Hayes said, carrying a positive attitude around with you is paramount. I try to make sure I'm carrying a positive vibes with me the day in and day out, whether I'm on the drums or on the ice or going to the grocery store. Attitude and vibes are felt by others, and your smile and your attitude can make someone's bad day turn around. Yep. I think that's true too.
Yeah.
I have on the ice. Are you a hockey player, Brian?
He's a hockey ref. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Oh, nice. Really?
Job, I would think. What was I going to say? Oh, I've had so many times people come in and they're like, oh, I haven't practiced. I'm kind of not feeling it today. I almost canceled. Like, no worries. Let's just get down to it. We'll play some drums, have some fun, work on the stuff. And every time afterwards, they're like, I'm so glad I came.
Yeah. Yeah. They're so glad. Yeah.
Like this was, I feel so much better having gone, and I'm re-energized, I'm remotivated and feeling
You're getting the endorphins going. You're getting
your attitude as a teacher is very, very important too, because it reflects on the student. I was in a good place and doing my thing. And one of my students said, this is why I get out of bed in the morning to come to this lesson. Eventually it's like the big part of my day. And I was just like, wow, I've got a responsibility to them to show up with the right positive attitude.
Yeah.
I love that. I have over the years, I've had students write me cards, thank you notes, and maybe they go off to college or sometimes it's just like around the holidays, they'll write me something and like a thank you for being, I love teaching and I love lessons. And I have this one card on my wall from a kid who's now probably like 30, but she wrote it when she was like 12.
Nice.
And it says, dear Jeremy, thanks for being the greatest drum teacher there could be. Like, I always look forward to my lesson because I know it's my turn to have fun.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Like, for me, that was like, the best. That was like one of the, that's why it's on my wall. It's her turn to have fun. It's like, oh yeah, like this is the fun box. You get to come in here and we're going to have a good time doing this. And you're always going to feel good when you leave. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I think that, I think being a drum teacher, it's easy to take that for granted. Okay. Yeah. Here's how you play this and that and blah, 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 blah. But you don't realize sometimes till years later, you run into somebody, dude, I used to take drum lessons with you and it changed this and that and that. And thank you so much. You're like, wow, you had an impact on somebody. Right. And so going into 2026, think about that. Think about the impact that you're going to have on people. Think about having the good positive impact on people. I want to circle back around to some real quick because we're running out of time. One of the things that has happened, we're talking about gigs and bands and whatever it is in your life being thankful for. We recently, I ran into a guy that used to be in the band, 27 years in a band, 26 years in a band, people come and go. And ran into a guy in a band and he goes, man, and when he left the band, it wasn't on bad terms. It was just like, it was his time to go, and he left and he told me, he goes, man, he goes, being in that band was the time of my life, and it made me feel good that he saw it that way. He really enjoyed himself in the band, and looking back on it, it wasn't a negative thing. It was a positive thing. And, so I again, just having a positive impact on people years down the road, sometimes it doesn't show till then, but it's nice. You nice.
Never know. See, words matter. You never know how your experience with people impacts them down the road. Yeah. And so even if you don't see something coming back to you, seems like they're not into it. You everything you say, how you handle yourself in the lessons really, really matters.
Yeah. It really does. Last year I was having this trouble with the Shopify on my website, and I posted something on Facebook about, does anybody know about Shopify that I can maybe hire to help me out with the situation? And a friend of mine, Isaac, an long time ago, I gave him lessons when he was a child. And he contacted me. He said, yeah, what do you need, man? Let me know. I can help. And so we got on. I told him what I needed. And he went and fixed everything on the Shopify thing. Came back and I was like, okay, so what's your Venmo? How do I make this right with you? And he was like, dude, you poured so much into me as a young man. It's the least I could do.
Oh,
and it was just such a, I still paid him. I gave him some money anyway. But it was such a heartwarming statement to have, like, to hear somebody from years back say, you meant so much to me. You know what I mean? It's such a great thing to hear.
It is. And, a lot of times, again, what I said earlier in the episode, it's really easy when you're younger, at least, to be like, okay, I'm going to be in the music business. And the only way I'm going to be happy is, and you put your mark on what you think success is. Maybe it's playing arenas, maybe it's having a Grammy, whatever. And you think that that's how you're going to touch people's lives, by selling millions of records and doing that thing. But as somebody that's, three guys that have been in it for our entire adult lives, I think it's safe to say that all of us are thankful and grateful for the way we've touched people's lives, not only with the music part of it where we're entertaining people at a gig, but in the educational part of it where we have helped people reach their goals. And I think that, going into 2026, again, I don't speak for any of the guys on deck, but I know for me that I'm going to do my best to be the best me that I can be, and enjoy it and live in the moment. So
yes,
that's what
Good way to end. Thanks, you guys, for tuning in with us and sharing our hour each week. We'll be back next week. We do have some special guests coming up in the next few weeks. I can't remember them exactly off the top of my head, but I know Derek from Beat Note will be on later this month. And
I got on my Beat Note shirt.
Oh,
Right
sweet.
on.
There it
There
is.
you go. Yeah.
All right, you guys have a great week. Have a great new year. And
Happy New Year.
good luck with all everything you want.
Thank you, everybody.
Your way.
See you guys. Bye-bye.